Yes. What are you telling me?
Brother. We've got questions. We've got questions, sir. The hair's looking crispy though, but we've got questions.
Yes. I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm
You're here.
I'm here, bro.
Okay. Look, I've got some questions for you, bro. I've got some questions for you, but I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna ask one question, and I'm gonna let you expand. I think both you and Katisha are villains. I can't lie to you.
Okay.
I think both of you are passive aggressive people. I think you saw that she was upset that night. I think you went out that night, and I went back through the footage. Both Anu and Sophie flirted with you, and this is where you're clever. I can't lie to you. You're clever. I have to give it to you. You didn't actually flirt back. You used a gray area. Now, that's a very clever means of what you did there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I watched it again. It was actually Anu who was flirting with you, talking about how she said the words, "Oh,
why didn't we date
we
more?
dated in the pods. Why didn't we date more?" She said that, and you kind of laughed it off. Sophie also said about her, and you again, you kind of laughed it off again, right? So they were flirting with you, but that's still a gray area because they were flirting with you, and you ain't shut it down. And then you go out the night later on, and then I'm not gonna say that that you were with them all night. I think you were definitely with the boys, and you had conversation with ladies. And it's one of those things where when you see somebody, your eyes just drawn to them every time when they're talking with someone. So it looks like it's like that. I don't disbelieve that you're with the boys. I think you were, but like you in a photo booth, my sir. You was in a photo booth, and no matter how you put it, no matter how much you try to spin it, okay, to go from the dance floor to the photo booth for a conversation, and it's gonna have optics. Yeah, sir, I ain't gonna lie to you. You're playing a little bit. So I have to be honest with you. I honestly think, my personal opinion, you can correct me now, I'm gonna let you jump in. My honest personal opinion is, I don't think you ever got over the 24-hour situation, because both Kyle spoke to you, Demola spoke to you about that. And I think also that fact that we only saw it in like episode 6 or 7, where Katisha finally said what actually she said to Demola, I think it affected you more than you might have even realized. Or maybe, I don't know, that's my personal perspective. And I think from then you started drifting, and from then you were looking for an out, but you weren't sure how you want to get out. And so instead of just quitting, you let her quit on you by going and have, because you didn't kiss anybody. There was no conversation about, oh, you kissed somebody or that. That would have been really, but you actually just use the situation. That's how I know you're very clever. You were on the gray line.
Think about how, obviously, the show is the show, innit? Honestly, okay. I only caught the last little bit here of me and her upstairs from what you was analysing. And I'm kind of gagged at the minute, so I can't say, there's only so much I can say at this current moment, right? So if you think, we'll go, let's take it from the top, from what you're analysing. The bit upstairs where we're eating and she tells me that scene, I don't know how to word this without getting in trouble, but I feel I can add some more context to that scene, because I knew she was upset, but it was about what she was upset about. That's where the context is missing in that particular moment, because it was actually nothing to do with me. It was actually to do with a conversation that she had with Anu. They had an argument that doesn't get shown. So it's like, it had nothing to do with me, right? Then the bit where I just put on my jacket and leave. Now, does anyone in their right mind think that I just put on my jacket and walked out? Hell no. Like, okay, they're making me look like an arsehole, and I can be an arsehole, but I didn't just put my jacket on and walk. Brother, I was sitting there begging the girl. I begged her to come with me. If I could call her right now, me and her on good terms, I could call her right now and she'll say yes. I begged her to come and she said no. I said, then I kneeled down to the bed. I didn't care. I kneeled down to the bed and I'm like, why won't you come? Like, why won't you come? She said, I'm tired. She said, I'm tired. I said, are you sure? Is there anything else? She said, no, I'm tired. Then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go for a few hours, come back. Mind you, yeah, me, I don't drink, innit? Like, I will have a drink, but I'm not like a big drinker. I'm not like, it's not my thing. So, what happens is, you then see me put my jacket on and leave, right? Mind you, yeah, so then I put my jacket on and leave, and then the story is a story, right? But at that point, the way it looks is like, I just put on my jacket, walked out, and she's bawling. It weren't like that. It weren't like that. It was me begging her to come, and then asking her why, and her not telling me why. Obviously, the real reason was that she was worried that I'd be hungover going to Scotland to meet her mum the next day, right? But then that's why I was saying, well, you know that I don't drink. That morning, you see us packing bags. You see me, I'm in a vest. I went to the gym that morning. So I went out, come back, woke up, went gym. So you knew I wouldn't be tired because the travel was later. So I was going to have more than enough time to sleep. So, yeah. But then in the same vein, and you guys will see this, is like I actually apologized for leaving anyway, because I was like, you know, I apologized. So, but you guys will see that in the reunion and stuff. Like, hopefully they show everything.
So I want to just confirm something. I want to because what you said, I want to make sure we got it clear. So you're saying that clip where we see that Katisha's upset and you just put your jacket on and you fly out there like Superman. You're saying there's more to that clip. That didn't just happen, as in like she did it, you went on your phone, suddenly called them. You're saying that you actually begged her to come. Are you sure? Is this not a semantic thing? We don't want Megan to come and confirm. So
I literally I was kneeling next to the bed and I'm like, why don't you want to come? Obviously I can see she's upset, but I'm trying to get I was trying to get her to just tell me, like, I'm trying to egg her on to tell me what I'm still thinking maybe it's because of the argument she had with Anu earlier in the evening. So that's what I was assuming, but I don't want to assume. I'm not in the game of assumptions, innit? I like to know. I need clarity in my life. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, tell me, like, please. I'm pleading with her, and I don't want her to come as well. I wanted her to join me. To be fair, I wanted her to come with me. And then she said, no, I'm tired. And I said, are you sure you're tired? She said, yeah, I'm tired. So I said, all right, cool. I'm gonna go, and I'll come back. I still accept that I should have just stayed. I said that. I actually said that to her after, but they don't show it. But I said I should have just stayed. But
why'd you have stayed though?
Because then nothing. The palaver from that point onwards wouldn't have taken place if I just kept my ass inside. But hindsight is 2020, isn't
Okay.
it?
So just help me understand something. So because obviously the next scene, or sorry, I said the next day, we see that you and Katisha are in the bedroom talking, and I heard you kind of answer. I want to make sure people can follow what's happening. So that next day when you guys are in the bedroom and you guys are talking, and she's saying that, you know, because she was afraid that you might go out. I mean, I don't think that was necessarily what she was really stressed about, but hey, maybe it was. But she's obviously stressed because you might have got drunk, whatever. And then you say you didn't see her upset though. So you have to, what's the thinking behind it? Because that makes me feel like then if you saying that, you know what I mean? Are you telling the truth or not telling the truth? What you saying?
But all right, you're right. But what I meant by that was basically she didn't clarify what she was upset about. So obviously I saw she was upset.
Okay.
But I'm still thinking that it was Anu. Plus I triple checked with you. Is there anything else? And all you said to me was that you're tired. So it wasn't. If she had said, Jav, I don't want you to go out because I'm worried you're going to be tired tomorrow, and I'd be like, all right, cool, I'll just stay, no problem. So I was looking for clarity. She was just being like, this is where I feel like there's holes missing in the way that it's represented, because you'll notice towards the end of our time on the show, we both start talking about communication issues. But
we said a lot,
but there's not enough meat given to that issue, because they don't really show enough of our communication. Apart from like just all the negative shit, if I excuse my French, but so when I say that, it wasn't that I didn't see that she was like visibly upset about something. It was more I just meant that like I didn't actually know you weren't forthright with what you was actually upset about. Is what I meant basically.
Okay. Within reason, again, whenever I ask a question, please just for the audience's sake as well, because they're watching us. I can understand that, you know, there may be some questions may not be able to answer, so I don't think you're trying to necessarily dodge. I want to ask a question then. So, because I'm looking at from my position and analyzing how you guys converse and talk, I saw a lot of, how do I say this? Or maybe from my own perception that I'm putting onto it, I see two people that have an avoidant perspective. So conversations kind of like you both kind of tread very carefully about what you're saying. It's like feelings get said but don't get said all the way, and then certain events are being told but not all the way told, and then it's like you say at times it don't really, you know, it don't really matter if you say it all the way, but it looks like you do really matter, even though from my perspective I'm saying it looks like it does matter because actually you're asking again. So that tells me it doesn't matter to you, even though you're saying it doesn't matter. So I'm trying to understand, when you say there are communicational issues, and she said it on the show, right? She said it in front of her mom. She said it to the girls as well, that you guys are having this communication issue, right? What is it that you're saying there's a communicational issue? What is it? Are you guys arguing too much? Are you guys talking, past each other? When you say communication, what does that even mean? Because that's it's a broad topic.
Yeah. So I think the best way for me to describe it, without Netflix suing me, is essentially, and this is the big problem. This is the problem that I've had with the way that it's been portrayed. Is there was a lot of moments where I would ask her direct questions and get indirect answers, or
okay,
or there would be things where something would be brought up on camera, and then she would bring it up like 3 days later off camera, and I'm like, why don't you just say it there and then? Because for me, my conflict resolution style is to try and deal with the matter there and then. I don't like to sleep on an argument. I don't like to sleep on disagreement. So, and that's not me saying that her communication style is bad or poor.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
I'm just saying that for it to mesh with me, I like to be a bit more, if you're upset, try and tell me. And it might not always be in the moment, but at least give it some. I need to know promptly. I don't need to know 4 days later. And that was a little bit of the way that we was breaking down on the communication level, because I just appreciate kind of being told right away. And then another issue with that is that, and we kind of got to it where she basically expressed to me that the reason she doesn't handle that type of communication very well is because she's worried about how it's received. So then I'm like, okay, so how can I create a safe space for you to say whatever's on your mind without worrying about backlash? Because I'm not a hot-headed person. I'm not just going to go off the rails at you anyway. But I've never really been that kind of person. So even if you say something that I don't like, I might just digest it for a minute and, okay, let me see how I can approach this. So that was basically some of the issues that we were having on a personal level, which, we spoke about it quite frequently. But that was, and there's a beautiful moment where we're together in Scotland. They don't show it, of course, because they don't want to show us doing anything positive. But there's a beautiful moment where we was together in Scotland and we was talking about it. And I said to her, like, I'm very conflicted at the moment. And this was on camera. I was like, I'm very conflicted, because for me to take this next step with somebody, this is a very important part for me. And actually, we had this conversation in the pods, and I spoke to her about the type of ways that I like to communicate and the way that I value communication as part of my value system for someone that I want to be with. So I remember this was on camera, everything was in Scotland, and it was a nice moment. I was talking to her, I was telling her, yeah, like right now I'm conflicted. And I was very honest with her, like, I'm not going to sit here and promise you the world and say that's going to be a yes, because I think that this is a big issue. Because I'm not pretending, I'm not saying these other guys are pretending, but I'm not sitting there doing I love you in 5 days and 6 days when, we're about to sign a contract and it's going to get real, so.
So I guess maybe one thing you can answer for us then is, how did that affect you? Because when she, let's say, I call it what we call a delayed reaction, right? So it's a delayed reaction. She's unable to process her emotions in that immediate moment. She needs to process it on her own for a little while, and then it kind of comes up later on. So it looks like she's trying to maybe do something, but really it's just a delayed reaction. The inability to feel emotionally safe, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you. It's just how she may also deal with things as well. From your perspective, then, having somebody who then has delayed reactions, how does that impact you and how you feel? Because in that space, it's obviously clearly an issue, because like you said, it brings communicational issues. So for you, how does that impact you and your sense of safety emotionally as well? Hopefully I haven't gone to, therapy, because that sounds like therapy talk, but I want to be sure it's not.
I think it's a good question. I think the best way for me to, I think what I would say is that if someone's being like that with me, I find myself pulling away in the sense that I want to ask less questions. I'm not diving as deep into what's wrong with them anymore, because I know they're not going to tell me. So I'm like, well, now I was just like, oh, you're upset about everything. What? And I can't find out why. So, and I'm a fixer. I find myself in previous situations wanting to fix things. So if I can't fix something, I almost feel like my use as a person is not, I don't feel valued. So I want to fix issues. I'm happy to try and fix issues. So if there is an issue and you don't communicate with me, and you call it a delayed reaction, but the issue I have with that is, if you act funny with me over a 2 or 3 day period, but you've got an issue and you haven't addressed it and you haven't brought it up to me, and everyone can say, oh, emotional intelligence, which is great, right? But at the end of the day, we're adults and people have to communicate, and I've got love for her. So, I want her to communicate with me. So everyone loves to go on this emotional intelligence angle. Sometimes it's not about that, because I need you to tell me what's wrong. So yeah, it just meant, to answer your question specifically about going on a tangent, it just meant that I probably wasn't searching for, I wasn't asking her as many questions at that point, because it was like, well, I'm finding it difficult to get proper answers out of you.
No, I get that. I do actually understand that perspective. Like I said, I think from a communicational aspect, I do see how, and of course I've said it before anyway, but I do see how that can cause a distance between two people, right? Because, and again, maybe we can jump in here. You've already given us on Netflix anyway, they showed us, right, early in the pods, you gave us a background about how your dating has been previously. And one of the biggest things that we saw was a distrust for the way that in a particular relationship, you're talking about how you shared your feelings, that you were feeling the person and they necessarily didn't reciprocate in the way that you thought they were reciprocating. So they weren't on the same level in a sense. A bit like what happened with Katisha and Demola, right? So in that space, in that space, trust is a massive thing. So maybe give us a bit of an understanding from your perspective, because this is an opportunity for you to share as well. When it comes to trusting, and I'm talking about specifically women in relationships, romantic relationships, what is your perspective and your angle on that? When you come into a relationship, when it comes to trust, when it comes to a woman that you're actually dating, because I think trusting your boys is very different to trusting somebody you're in a romantic relationship with. What is your angle here? How do you come into that? What's your mindset when it comes to trust? Are you somebody that immediately trusts them, or are you somebody that has to work into that? Like, how does somebody gain your trust in that space? Because I think that's what I was seeing between you and Katisha that was kind of rubbing a little bit. But let me know your perspective.
Yeah, so the situation I'd spoken about was essentially, it was basically like a childhood sweetheart that I'd known from when I was in secondary school. We met when we ended up reconnecting, and then it was about 10, 11 months. And then essentially she broke things off with me after and basically what I said at the time was, I felt like I gave 100% to this person and I didn't get that back. And that kind of knocks me back a bit, right? So in relation to your question now, I think for me, what it made me, it set me back in a sense that I felt like, okay, if I give someone 100% and I don't get 100% back, I'm putting myself at risk. So it definitely did that. But then that was like 3 years ago. So for me, I'm not holding on to that. But actually, no, sorry. At the time of shooting, it would have been 2 years. But I wasn't holding on to that, especially going into this experiment. But what it did mean, though, is that, again, in relation to your question, I think that me as a person I'm more of a slow burner. So we will get there, but I may need more time to be as vulnerable. Or it's not that I'm not open, because if you ask me the right questions, I'll answer. And that's where I disagree when people say, "Oh, you're not open." Actually, I am open. You just have to ask the right questions. But am I forthcoming? That's different. Am I forthcoming or open? That's different. That's two different things. I'm not coming to you, running to you with everything. But if you ask me, you will get. And sometimes it might need the right person to ask the right questions, and that could be compatibility, etc., etc. But I would definitely say I'm a bit more of a slow burner.
So then let me ask a question. What behaviors did you see from Katisha? And I'm throwing a leading question, by the way, so I'll tell you honestly before I start it. It's a leading question. What behaviors did you see from Katisha that made you feel guarded, or made you feel like your trust, you have to be careful of how you trust this particular individual? I mean, I warned you in it. So it's a leading question, isn't it? I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a leading question. I'm assuming that's what's happened. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you.
No, I trusted her. I think that because there was they actually showed this where she says, "Oh, I feel like you're not open up." Then I sat down in the chair and I'm like, "Okay, what do you need from me to da, right?" So I think that I think it's a compatibility thing, because it's a case of when you get the right person, they'll ask the right questions. And there was never anything that I wouldn't share. There was never anything I would hide. So it's a case of like, if we're having general conversation, I know the questions. I know what I want to know about somebody. Like, I know what I want to know. So as in the questions that I would ask somebody. So the person that's going to be across the table from me in a romantic aspect also has things that they want to know, and they need to also have the right skills to ask questions, based on what they want to find out. So there was nothing specifically about her that I didn't trust, or I didn't feel like I could give myself to her. But I think there's a lot of elements to this process that a lot of people just kind of don't understand. You got to remember as well, on top of that, we spent 11 days talking, and then you just thrust together as well. There is that element to it where, you know, you see them for 15 minutes, you go away, you don't see them for another 3 days, and you just get slapped in a nice hotel in Cyprus, and you're just together 24 hours. And they said, I'm just with this human that, okay, we've been chatting, but I'm now with you physically every day. And I can't fully put my finger on how that changes the dynamics, but it definitely does. It definitely does. Because now they're in your space 24/7, you're in their space 24/7. But no, I trusted her. I just think that I go back to communication, like just remembering my time with her. I mean, me and her was just talking literally 2 days ago. So, yeah.
So let me ask a question then in that space as well. I'm gonna circle around and come back before I go forward again about the show. I want to understand something. So from your perspective as well, it's just gone out of my head. It was a question about something that you shared in the pods, and it's just gone out of my head. I'll come back to it. Okay, so in regards to obviously you and Katisha, then, like I said, we see the scenario with you going out, and the Anu, the Megan, the Sophie thing. If you can share it, I don't know if you can. Okay, my first thing is we'll probably maybe not go to because I'm sure they'll probably want you not to say some of this. What was the argument? In fact, wait. Why were you arguing with Sophie? You said you went to the photo booth to argue, but why did you go into the photo booth to argue? You get what I'm saying to you? Because me too, on the dance floor, when I'm on the dance floor, I like to two-step because you ain't gonna get me to the photo booth. You know what I'm saying to you? Unless it's a YouTube event. I want to know why, Javen, of all the places you could have seen, why the photo booth?
All right, look. There's two things though, yeah, because it's funny because I was just talking to Sophie today as well. It's basically
cool. Shout out to Sophie.
Basically, so the first bit in the mixer, before I get to the actual off-camera stuff, on camera stuff, the mixer, obviously. So, I'll put it without revealing everything. At the end of the day, all the people on the live, I just want to remind you guys that it's TV. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's TV, yeah? Okay. That's the first thing. Okay. Second thing I'll say. So, actually, if you notice the way they clip up me and Sophie talking to each other, it's a lot of laughing and joking, right? But they don't really show much of what we was actually talking about. It's just little sound bites here and there, right? You might notice that. There's a reason that happened because I kind of knew they were trying to set me up. So I already knew they were trying to set me up. So in all the conversations, I'm just laughing, joking, and then I'm also talking about stuff off camera that we're not allowed to talk about. So I was purposely saying things. I was saying names of like producers and that I know they're not going to put on the show because we're not allowed to talk about the show when we're being recorded. That's the whole point. Yeah. So I was trying to be strategic. I wasn't strategic enough. Clearly, they clicked it up in a way that made me look mad. But I won't deny I was being friendly, too friendly. Cool. Now the off camera, the next part. Basically, the argument that we was having, we was basically talking about again off camera stuff. So we was talking about like the pods, dating. She was talking about like why didn't I pick her? Blah blah blah. I was saying to her, how could I pick you when you wanted Kieran and there was another guy that they don't really show. So we was basically going back and forth on that, and we was having a disagreement about some like what one of the producers said to one of us, basically. So it was going back and forth on that. She goes into the photo booth. I just sit in the photo booth with her, and we continue the argument. Now, again, you'll see the reunion, and you'll see what I say about this. But in the photo booth, we're just continuing the argument. Like I said, there was no curtain. This is the big argument: was there curtain?
You was passionate about that, so you telling me there was no curtain?
Wait, when you lot see the big old photo booth and the dance floor, everyone can look in there. So if I had something to hide, I wouldn't go in there. If I had something to hide, I would have left the venue because I would have been like, right, it's too hot in there. Everyone can see, man. Let's go out there. The big old venue.
Let's make it clear so we don't have no semantics later on. Was there a curtain but it was open, or are we saying there was no curtain at all? Let's make it clear.
There's not even this photo booth doesn't have a curtain.
The photo booth doesn't have a curtain.
Doesn't anything. I don't want to divert traffic from your page, but there's already some podcasters. There's already some podcasters that have gone to the bar and taken pictures, and they've got the evidence.
And there's no. You need to send me that later on. But okay, so there's no curtain.
The photo doesn't have. It never had a curtain in the first place.
Because this is very important. The reason why I'm saying it's very important is that if there's no curtain, both Kieran and I'm just want to make it very clear as what they said. I've watched it 4 or 5 times. Both Kieran and Megan both said that there was definitely a curtain.
They said there was definitely
because inadvertently it would mean that there's lying going on because they both said there was a curtain, and rather than just say okay maybe there wasn't a curtain, but it was, do you know what I mean? Like that would mean that inadvertently I'm just going to put it out there. It would mean that they were lying.
But that's why I was so irate because that's why I was mad confused because I was like, bro, like we can talk about the semantics of you saying that the semantics that I was angry about was they were saying I was with Sophie all night. Yeah, that's the phrase they used. So I said the argument is me saying to them, look, I don't have a problem with you running to Katisha and saying whatever you said. Cool. It's how you worded it. If you say, right, you're with them all night, you're insinuating something. So then that was the first argument. Then I was like, yeah, we went in the photo booth. I didn't deny that, but there wasn't even a curtain, so everyone could see us. If I had something to hide, I would have went somewhere where you lot couldn't see us. I could have went outside. Everyone that was in the bar that night would have been like, oh, Javen and Sophie have gone outside. So there was no the only way I would have fixed it is just I shouldn't have went out in the first place. I should have just kept my ass in bed. That would have been the only way to just keep myself out of it. Because did I talk to Sophie that night? Yes. I spoke to everyone that night. I spoke to Megan and Kieran that night. Then I'm gonna keep. Now we're here. This is a safe space. Yeah, you're a brother, so I'm gonna keep it real with you, innit? It was a gay bar, yeah, and I spoke to Sophie, I spoke to Anu, then I was like, right, what am I doing here? And I just sat with the niggas, yeah. I just sat with the Negroes. It was me, Demola, Patrick, and Yolanda, yeah, all 4 of us. I just parked myself in a corner, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit with the niggas. I'll be here for an hour or 2, get out. That was it. I just thought I'm gonna sit with the Negroes. This ain't my thing, yeah. You lot have your fun. That was it. That's if I'm keeping it 100. Obviously, I can't say that on big Netflix, innit? But that's really what happened. That's really what it was.
So then the question obviously then presides to move forward with that is that Megan obviously felt like you were being inappropriate with Anu, Yolanda, if you want to call it that, Sophie. She felt like the interactions were inappropriate. Kieran said he kind of backed it, but he didn't go all the way back in it. So I mean, I like Kieran. He seems pretty cool. But if he thinks pussy, I understand. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I hate you. I'm separating state and church. But obviously, with the situation with that, what, if you can tell us, again, I want to make sure. Again, I understand that the game is a game. But would you admit though, that some of the interactions, as somebody would say to me, if Jesus was standing right there, if the Lord Jesus was standing right there, Javen, would he class this conversation as a sensible conversation for somebody that's about to get married? That's the question. Would you say that the conversations that you were having, it's a real question, that you were having with Sophie, with Anu, and also with Yolanda, bearing in mind that Anu and Sophie, beautiful people, have already kind of flirted with you a little bit, specifically Sophie, because she mentioned for JJ. So I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah. So again with Sophie, we was just arguing. We actually were arguing. Like, I'm not even capping. We was arguing. Like, it was just
I've argued with women before, but
she's got animated personality. Me, I'm confrontational. That's just the way I am. So we was just literally going back and forth. That ended. I sat down. Anu was next to me as we sat down. Me and Anu, she was questioning me about if I was gonna get married. That's what we was talking about. So she's like, you're not really gonna get married, are you? Da, 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 da. So I was like, you don't know, like you don't know what I'm gonna do, like you don't, because they were basically Anu and Yolanda. They just kept trying to. They were making assumptions that I weren't gonna get married, innit, basically.
Okay, so I understand.
That's all the conversation was about, and then. Yeah, I didn't even talk to them that long, like not that long.
Yeah, because you're talking to Sophie.
I spoke to Sophie the longest, and then after that, but when I say the longest, I mean like 10-15 minutes, and then after that, I was parked up again with the guys. I mean, technically, you were 10-15 minutes with Sophie and 10-15 minutes with Anu Yolanda. I think that's what you said. 10-15 minutes with Anu and Yolanda. So technically, we half an hour. So we've got out of 2 hours. Okay. Remember, I'm out for like 2-3 hours, yeah. The phrasing and the wording was I was with Sophie all night. We need to semantics.
Yeah. But we semantics do matter in this. I understand what you're saying.
And I'm sat with.
But you still haven't answered my question. Was a conversation? If Jesus was standing there, would you say the conversation was appropriate? Just between me and you, man.
100%.
It was above board.
100%.
Wait.
If there was a mic in the room, I'd be happy for everyone to listen to what we spoke about.
Oh, we know that part. But I'm saying no. But if you were engaged, which you were, would you say if Katisha was standing right there?
I would.
That's subjective because obviously people feel some type of way. We're saying that it would have been above board the conversation.
100%.
There was no bars that were laid.
Not from me.
Wait.
Not from me. I ain't said nothing to them.
No, wait.
That's what you're asking.
We a bad boy. Hey, Javen. you played it.
There.
Okay. Yeah.
If Katisha was there, she would have heard from. She would have heard me and Sophie arguing about the behind the scenes stuff. Then she would have heard Anu questioning our relationship. Essentially, that's what she was. That's what she was doing. And then Yolanda doing the same thing. Essentially, Yolanda was also questioning, not the relationship, but questioning me. Like, you know, you're gonna get married. And actually, Yolanda was telling me stuff about off-camp, like producers, about what they think about me. So again, that was like another behind the scenes conversation. Basically, she was talking to me about, because obviously that day they'd all got brought up to come to the mixer. So the company have paid for them and they've all got their agendas to try and make the show more interesting, right? I've got to speak in tongues here, but they've been given their agendas to make this more interesting. So Yolanda was revealing to me like what their mission was at the mixer that's on camera, essentially. So she was giving me a bit of like, they told me to do XYZ. That's why I said XYZ. Yeah, I'm trying to speak in riddles here, but hopefully you get what I'm trying to say.
I understand. Okay, so in essence, you're saying that the conversation from because you said from your end specifically, that's what you said. I don't mean that the other ladies were on their end was above board. You kind of highlighted that, so that's why I just want to just hold you to that, you know, because I'm gonna let it go, but I'm just letting you know that you've made it clear that on your end, which means on the other end doesn't mean it was, which means it will still be inappropriate. Just want to let you know, you know what I mean? That was still be inappropriate.
Like, if you're asking me, would Katisha be happy with what they were saying to me? She might have a few things to say, but would she be angry at what I said?
So okay? No. You don't have to label the person. I don't need to know the person because again, I know this. Was anybody flirting with you?
Was anybody flirting with me?
When you went that night, was anybody flirting with you? You don't have to say who the person is. It's not important. What's important was anybody flirting with you?
At the off camera.
Now it could be off camera. It could be on that camera when you were out that night. When you spoke for 10-15 minutes to the ladies, whether it was on and off camera. Was anybody flirting with? Because clearly you weren't flirting with them, right? That's what you're telling me right now.
So the on-camera stuff that you lot see, that's like that was in the mixer. So that's what you lot see. Obviously, we went out after that, and it's separate.
Yes, you did. Yes, that separate one. Anybody flirt with you? You can plead the fifth if you need to plead the fifth.
I wouldn't consider what any of them were doing as flirting. And also a lot of them was the first time they met me. So obviously they're talking to me. But I wouldn't say that they were flirting. Me personally, I wouldn't consider that flirting.
So they saw.
I would say what happened in the mixer was probably what you guys see is probably as flirtatious as it got.
So let me ask you a question then.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. If Katisha had okay, wait. Did you tell Katisha what Sophie said to you?
What, at the mixer?
Yeah, when she said about her JJ. Did you you complete the fifth again? But did you tell Katisha that, hey, I ain't gonna be honest with you now. Hey, Sophie done set some bars on me, and you know, I had to be honest and open with you. Did you tell her that?
No.
Okay, so let me pose another question to you then. If you were to watch back, Katisha went on that date with Demola, and Demola said, without sounding crude, you know what, when I'm talking to you, man, I think it's hard. would you expect her to tell you that he said that thing to her? You can plead the fifth, sir. You don't have to answer. You can plead the fifth.
I would expect her to tell me yes. Yes.
Okay. So why didn't you tell her then? From your truth, because there's a reason why, and I understand that. So, all jokes aside, why for you?
Yeah, no. It's a good question. It's a good question. It's a valid question. I guess really I think for me, I probably didn't take that. I didn't take that very seriously. If I'm being brutal, I didn't take that very seriously. So if my guy D did that in reverse, I would expect her to tell me you're right. I don't deny, I won't disagree or go against that. So I would say then the only way I can rationalize that, or even I didn't take that too seriously.
No, I get it. And again, even given an answer, there's no perfect answer at the end of the day. Listen, let's be honest. I can understand the thought process of not telling her. You know what I'm saying to you? You might have thought it was minuscule, it's not that big of a deal to tell her. But the truth of the matter is, like I know most people that are avoidant, they have one rule for themselves, another rule for others when it comes to boundaries, because it's about your safety. All right. So I understand where you're coming from. I'm not trying to shift you. I'm just trying to understand your particular perspective in that aspect. I know a lot of people won't understand that. It's not me giving you an excuse. It's not me giving you any a free pass or anything like that. It's more what I'm just trying to understand behaviors. And that's what we actually do here a lot of times. I'm trying to make people understand behavior rather than trying to condemn somebody. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Okay, cool. So with that being said, there sounds like there's some frustrations here with Kieran. And again, I don't know if you addressed it on the reunion, so you don't have to address something that you don't want to address or Netflix won't be happy with. So you use some words, I won't repeat, but you felt some type of way about Kieran. Now, I want to know why you felt this particular way about Kieran. I have my own perspective on this. I did feel like Kieran should have stopped Megan at a certain point and had a conversation with you man to man. I always just think to myself, and I know ladies are not going to like what I'm going to say next. I would never want my girl arguing with another man. It's just never a good look. Number one. Number two, as a man as well, when you put your girl in a place where she's arguing with a man like that, and it gets to that place, the other man can't win. Number one, because it looks like you're being abusive to the woman. Number two, also I'm not being protective of the person, because now she's gonna look at me and go, why didn't you defend me? It's like, well, I actually thought you were going too far. And sometimes you just need to stop your girl, because if she's doing with another girl, that's another woman. But when it comes to women and men, I always feel like you'll be very careful on that dynamic when it comes to argument. For me personally, I would have shut Megan down a little bit. As soon as I started seeing again irate, I would have shut her down. And some people won't like that, but they understand it from a perspective when they realize that actually, if you started railing and jumping up, they'd have been like, why didn't you jump in? No, you don't have to wait till then. You know what I'm saying? I don't wait to that point. I stop it before it gets to that place. So that's my perspective on that aspect in terms of the Kieran thing, because I would have stopped it there. I would have had a conversation with you one-to-one myself and say, hey, bro, listen, I know you want to talk to my girl, but it's me and you, bro. Because men to men, I can't let you have the thing with my girl. You know what I'm saying to you? That's my perspective. But what's your perspective? Because it sounds like there is some frustrations, let me put it that way, in terms of the Kieran thing. So I'd love for you to clear that up, maybe your perspective, give us an understanding of why there can be some frustrations there with the Kieran situation.
Yeah. And forgive me, bro. I've got 5 more minutes with you, so
calm, bro.
We'll obviously organize a proper sit down.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, like you said, he they don't show you the full argument. Yeah, obviously they can't, because the full argument was it was a lot more spicy than what they showed. And I think that obviously what you guys see when Megan and Katisha talk, Kieran isn't there, right? So he wasn't in the room when they had that first conversation. So I think maybe some of when he sat in this particular disagreement with Megan, he knew what she had said, but I don't think he was aware of like what she had said, like in detail.
Okay.
He knew that she spoke to Katisha, but he didn't know maybe the details of it. But the reality, the real reason why I was a little bit annoyed with him is more so that what the viewers don't see, and this is my only gripe with the whole show, is that there's so much that you guys don't see, so there's so much context missing to all these elements. But a big thing that all the cast members were kind of pretty cool about was like, if something happens, we're all talking off camera. Like, we all got each other's phone numbers. We're not gonna blindside each other on camera. Like there's a scene with like me and Jed. Like, we kind of knew what we'd probably talk about, because, you know, we'd been together. Me and Jed had been talking every day. Like, so it was like, all right, cool. I won't talk about this on camera. I don't want to put you in a difficult position. Like, I respect you. So there was a bit of that, like, right, like, we're cool. Like, me and you been chatting, and this is how you're moving, and your girl's doing this. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then he just said something that made me think, right, you're a very smart guy, bro. Like, you just know where you believe this, because he chimed in and he said, oh, it's just semantics. The semantics don't matter. I don't know why, but that just set me off, because when he said that, I was like, bro, you're one of the smartest guys I've met, and you're telling me semantics don't matter. And then that's when I start getting into the point of, I don't care what she said. I care how she said it. I care how it was portrayed, because this is, and you'll see this in the room, but really, this is what she should have said. She should have said to Katisha, look, it's none of my business, but I think you should have a word with Jav, because it looked like he was getting too cozy with XYZ last night. That's different to saying, hey, this guy wasn't acting like a fiance, and he was with Sophie and Annie and Yolanda all night. The 2-3 hours I was there, that's different. That is different wording, right? So it's more, and then when he said that, like, that just set me off. It's just the way he just, and obviously he has to, it's his missus, isn't it? But there's some people that you can be wrong and strong, but there's a way that you go about it. So I don't have any personal issues with him, because you see in the scene before, who am I talking to when I ask him about love? Like, I said to him, if you see the scene before, it's me and him on the table, and I'm like, oh, like, do you feel like you could marry someone you don't love? I only asked him because, like, me and him were cool. Like, we weren't the closest. Me and Demola and Jed were the closest, but like, we were cool. We were friendly. So yeah, it was just that wording that he said that set me off. Okay.
And I guess last question, because I've only got a few minutes left then. And we'll have to revisit this again. We can have a deeper conversation. But and again, it's a leading question. And I'm going to skip away from the Megan situation, because I think we'll come back to another time. Where did the downfall start between? When I say this in terms of like the communication, but I'm going to change it. Let me change it. I want to know your true thoughts and sentiments to finding out that after 24 hours that Katisha changed her mind, right? Because when you found out, although you didn't say much, I felt like there was a lot more that was happening underneath the surface. I felt there was a lot more going on with you in that space. So when you found out after 24 hours that she changed her mind, I want to know where your mind went to and where your thoughts went to, because for me, it looked like something shifted. It felt like when she finally told you, oh, not only did she change her mind 24 hours, but then also she said she promised him. That's two different scenarios. So if you can address both of them, the first one, which being find out 24 hours, and the second one, when she promised him, I really want to know what was going through your mind at that point, because there are two different points and two different things that are happening at that point.
So again, it's hard when, yeah, anyway, essentially, the day before, when she says it's not you, she's going to go with the other connection. I essentially, obviously, I was disappointed, but I kind of just took it on the chin. Like, it's just the process of the show. It's just the nature of the show, isn't it? Like, you can't do anything about it. So I'm not going to be able to change her mind. Once you leave that pod, you can't text them. You can't send them a voice note like, hey, please change your mind. It is what it is. You just have to take it. So that next day, so like a lot of people, I've seen a lot of the chatter online about, the comment about, I'm not going to propose unless she proposes to me, right? I still stand on that.
Not 10 toes down, bro.
I'm 10 toes down on that one. And you know why?
Why though? Yes, why?
At that point where I said that, bro, I'm thinking I'm going home. So I'm just thinking, oh yeah, like if she says to me she really wants me, then I'm gonna stay. But at that point, I'm like, I'm going home. I'm thinking I'm going home. D's all happy, smiling, laughing. He's like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm thinking, yeah, all right, cool. And the thing is, obviously, the way the show has it like it's me against him. It was never me against him, you know. But me and him are tight. Like he's like him apart from Patrick, he's the only other black guy in there. So I mean, I'm never gonna go against my guys, innit? That's just say whatever, but I'm not going against my people, innit? So like it was never me against him. And then so yeah, that morning, so now it's the switcheroo time. That morning, when I say I genuinely, I'm in the hotel, bags are packed. I told the producers, yo, I'm only staying to say goodbye to her. I'm not thinking about doing no proposal. That's why a lot of these guys had like rehearsed proposals. I didn't have nothing because I'm thinking, I'm coming in. I'm gonna come in and say goodbye. So when I go in, obviously they don't show this, innit? A lot of this is edited out. Before she even says, about what she says, I was in there and I was like, I'm explaining to her, I'm giving her a goodbye speech. They don't really show it though. You guys won't ever see it. But I'm giving her like a full goodbye speech. Yeah, everything. Goodbye, And then as I'm about to like fully say goodbye and leave, that's when she starts and then she says, you know, like, you know, I'll do whatever it takes for you to stay, blah, blah, blah. So my mind was just like, I checked out at that point. Before then, like, because I went in to say goodbye. I didn't go in to propose. That's even why people are like, oh, the proposal was shit. Yeah, because I didn't plan to propose. I was planning to go home. Like, she'd already made a pretty strong, she put her flag in the sand that she's going elsewhere. So what?
Just to make it clear, how did she put the flag in the sand? Just to make sure that people understand. What was the telltale sign that she was definitely like you kind of felt like she was going that way?
Because in the date before, which you guys see a bit of it, where she says, I'm going with my other connection. So at that point, I'd already, she obviously told me she's not going to go with me. Like that was what I took it as, and that's what she said. That's what she said. So even though that's where I say, all right, you know, I'll stay and have my drink, blah, blah, blah. So obviously that date continues and we still have a long chat. But the only reason I didn't walk out is because a lot of people were walking out on their dates and they don't like it when you do that. So I was like, all right, I'll stay. So, you know, I don't want to upset the bosses. So I'll just stay and we'll just chat. And also, I wasn't like overly emotional about it. I was like, you made a decision. You're allowed to make a decision. That's the whole point of this show. Like you have to make a decision. So I'm not going to just storm out. We've had a good time. I'll just finish and have a chat. And even like people talking about the notes thing. Like, oh, I only had 2 notes. But I had pages and pages of notes. Obviously, they cut it down.
Yeah, they cut it down to like 6. I can't lie to you, bro. One or 2 pages. You don't piss somebody off in the production.
Wait, there's so much that we spoke about. Yeah, but I said I had pages of notes. Like, anyway, I digress. But yeah, man. Obviously, I was upset. My head was all over the place, and that's why obviously I went in there and I was like, I'm going home, innit? So I'm come to say goodbye, pretty much.
Okay. And the last part of the question is that how did you feel then when you found out that it was Demola, that she had promised Demola? Because at that point, you know that she says she was going that way, but you didn't know that she had promised him, saying that she's definitely going to go that way. So when you found that out, how did that impact you? And how did that change your mind then in that space?
Last bit again. Sorry, repeat that last bit again.
So when you found out that that she told you finally, I think she told you a little bit later on, right? So it wasn't immediately after you guys exited the pods. It's a little bit later on, right? Maybe you can clarify when that happened. When she finally tells you that she actually then did promise Demola that she was going to go that way. I want to know how that impacted you and how that changed your perception of the relationship that you were in with Katisha at that point.
So, again, this is why when people have strong opinions about reality TV shows, I think you got to be kind of weird because you need to understand a lot of it is edited, right? But there's 2 conversations we have before the one that they show you. And this is on camera as well, but they didn't show it. Yeah. And I asked her the same thing. In one scenario, she actually says, I don't remember. Yeah, that was what? No, sorry. In one scenario, she says nothing. She said, I didn't say anything. Then the second time I asked her again, she said, I don't remember. And I just laughed because I'm like, I know she said something, but I'm laughing. And this is on camera. Also, they don't show it, and I laugh and I'm like, okay, like you said nothing, but he was saying that you're his girl in the pod. So like, but anyway, and then when she reveals what she said, for me, it was just like, I was annoyed. I was annoyed because I was like, well, I asked you 3 times. Why didn't you just tell me the first time? I would have just accepted it the first time anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference. And also, I knew you must have said something because I know what kind of guy he is, and he ain't going to be rolling around in the lounge all confident unless he was told something. Naturally, I wouldn't do that either. And I know what kind of guy he is. Like, we're from similar areas, like similar backgrounds. Like, I know he wouldn't be acting so confident unless he was told something. So it's like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, there's no, I'm not judging. And I even, the way I'm expressing to you now, I'm not judging you for it. I actually give you grace because I understand that the scenario of the pods is quite intense. So I give you grace for that, but there's no reason why you can't tell me. Like, I'm not gonna scream at you. You know, it's done now. I can't do nothing about it anyway. So I did. So yeah, when she told me that, it was just more, again, reaffirming the issues that I mentioned around communication, because there's no reason you couldn't tell me the first time, basically.
Okay. I understand that. You know, I do understand. I can see how that could have, impacted the relationship going from there. You know what I mean? If I was to put myself in your shoes, I could see how that would change how I look at the other person. If I'm honest with you, that would change how I look at the person, because that information is huge for someone to then tell me later on that they actually promised other person. And actually, on the actual video clip, she actually went back into I don't know if you've seen it. She actually went back into the lounge with the ladies and said she got a man. That's why I'm asking. You know, of course, you're not privy to that at the time, but I want to highlight that to you. I don't know if you know that. I want to highlight to you.
So the same way that she's done that, yeah. Obviously, D's done that in the boys' lounge, not in front of me though, because
I hear that saying.
He didn't do that in front of me, but the same way that she's done that about him, yeah, he's done that about her in the lounge, but not in front of me. Not in front of me.
Yeah,
obviously the boys,
just to the other guys.
It's the lounge, innit? Yeah. The boys talk. They're like, "Oh, he's saying this," and I'm like, "That's cool, man. That's fine. It's not a problem." Like, so, yeah, bro. Like, I think when you get past the pods, I found it difficult for that stuff to bother me because we're already past it. So that's the only reason. The only reason any of that stuff would have even got on my nerves is because it was upsetting her. Like, there's times off camera she's crying, and I'm like, yo, that's the main reason why the whole scene of her messaging him. Obviously, I told her to do that.
You said, yeah, you did, but you told her that she ran a whole paragraph, bro. I was like, are you writing a story? Was she tapping for that long? Is that what you're trying to say?
She's tapping for ages. But no, I really wanted to.
So, okay, so wait, can you be honest then? If we're man to man, can we be honest then? Does that affect your trust for the? You see, because I want to use the words carefully, because sometimes I think when we hear certain words as men, we're like, I don't feel like I'm a weak person or I got played. No, so let's keep it real on the butt then. Hearing that information finally come out of her mouth, and you're seeing her being emotional off camera and and all that kind of stuff, right? Does that affect your trust? And trust also affects emotional connection. It also affects attraction. So I'm just giving you the equation, but let's start from the fact, the trust aspect. Does that affect your trust? I know you said you passed it, but to hear that aspect come out of her mouth, does that affect your trust for that lady?
At the time, I don't think so. But I don't know. Hindsight, sitting here now, it's a year ago. I don't know. I don't feel that. I can't honestly tell you that, inside of my mind, I said, I don't trust her. Like, did it make me? I would say I probably just kind of affected probably how I view our communication still. So that same thing in my mind is just probably that more than anything. So it definitely made me worry a bit more about, okay, how can I marry if this is the way that things are gonna go? So I would say that it put a damper, put more negative feelings towards that, but it didn't make me not trust her. I wouldn't say that, no.
Okay. So as obviously, I know you got to go. So I know we'll probably hope by the grace of God we'll get chopped up again. But any last thoughts that you want to clear up for the audience at this point in time between episodes 1 and 8 we've seen? Is there anything that you want to clear up just to make it clear for us who are watching?
I think that one of the big. You lot are going to get me in trouble with Netflix, but I'm going to have to say what I need to say here real quick. Just real quick.
Don't worry, if they touch me, I'll edit it out.
all I can say, is that obviously I need to remind a lot of the viewers, that it's a TV show, And there's a lot of stuff, yeah. What you don't see is just as powerful as what you do see. Yeah.
Okay.
So straight away from the off, now I'm gonna go on a tangent. I know I should have left about 8 minutes ago, but I have to get this one out.
That's what happens when you stay. Don't worry, you go on.
Straight away from the off, they're already painting the narrative of me against the good, soft, nice boy against this player, right? That's what they put in your mind from the get-go. There are scenes, yeah, of, remember, and also the dates are multiple hours long. So if you think that I was just sitting in there being nonchalant, being cold, and I didn't share anything, like, you have to just, I get it's a show and you're looking at it just from what you see, but you have to like do a little bit of critical thinking and just, you know, did it just play out like that? Or was there more to it? And also, is it feeding the narrative? Because if you notice, when you get to episode 6 or 5, one of them, and we're on holiday, there's a scene, and this really stood out to me. This one I knew, oh yeah, okay, they're really trying to make me the bad guy this year. Everyone has, when you go on holiday, yeah, they do a special date for you. There's this scene, it opens episode 5 or 6. Jed and Barda are doing the buggy. Billy and Ashley are doing the waterfall. Kieran and Megan are on the boat. And Kyle and Sarova are doing the mud massage. Yeah. And they show like clips. Then it just switches to us and we're in the living room just upset and somber. And I'm like, right, you don't know we had a special date as well that day. We had like a date on the beach that they organized for us. Why didn't you not show this? So again, I'll just repeat. What you don't see is just as powerful as what you do see. So that's all I will leave it with for now, because if I say any more, I'm going to get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Listen, you know what? You're always welcome here, bro. You know what I mean? We're always happy to have a conversation. You know what I mean? I would say personally, for my final thoughts on this, is that I've been interviewing people for a very long time. Audience know me very well. I interview a lot of the American people, right? And they say the exact same things at editing. And I agree with them. I think editing will do a lot. But I'll also tell you the truth. They psych profile you from before you got on that show. So they know what you're going to do. So as much as I do believe that there might be times where you're sitting there being quiet, as you've already said to us, you need someone to ask the right kind of questions. So all they're going to do is depict a certain narrative, yes. But in aspects, there's a lot of your behaviors that fit into that narrative because that's actually what you do. Now, I don't think you're necessarily the worst person. I don't think that at all. I don't think you're the big bad wolf that is, we've seen it from villains before. I don't think you're the big bad wolf, right? But I do feel like you do deflect. You're very clever with your words and you dance on the line. I know. You know what I'm saying to you? So I'm not mad at it, but I also want you to be aware of it that and I always tell this to audience and I tell people when they come on, when they interview, I tell them the same thing. The one thing that people will respect is accountability. And the one thing that you think you're getting away with, you can't get away with it because your behavior will show itself somewhere else. So it's like, I always tell people all the time, like I don't need to hang a noose around you. You'll hang it around yourself. Mm-hmm. So all I want people to do is just be aware, just be accountable, because some of the behaviors that we did see, I think you and Katisha are pretty much the same. She played Damola, and I think you weren't honest about how I still don't think you're being all the way honest about how you felt about Katisha in those moments as to why you went and whether you were flirting or not, whether you went into the bar and you were chatting with Sophie and chatting with Anu, and whether you went too far. You did enough. And I think you're very clever. I think you're very smart, Javen. You are an intelligent individual. And if we were to have a real conversation, I know man on man, I know that we could talk about some real things. You understand what I'm saying to you? The real things. And I won't go there on the live, but some real things. What that means is there's a way that we think, that we know that we don't want to get played. So we know the lines. That's why I don't think that's why I was surprised. Like, he didn't kiss nobody. He didn't sleep with nobody. Oh, he's very intentional. He was never going to go that far. But you did enough. And that's all it is. You know what I'm saying to you? So I don't think you're the big bad wolf. I want to point out though that you will need to be accountable in some aspect. So when you can find it for us, I'm gonna need you to bring it.
You cut out there. You cut out that last bit again.
I'm saying to you, I think for you personally, I would say this. I'm gonna need you to take some time, find where you can find the accountability lines, where you can be accountable for your behavior and how it's impacted the situation, so that we can also begin to empathize with you. I mean, I already do as a man, but I'm saying to you, like, the rest of the audience can't empathize because they're going to see you, not you, they're going to see their ex-boyfriend, they're seeing their dad, they're seeing their uncle, they're seeing their brother, they're seeing Kevin Samuels. Okay, it's not you they're seeing. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But if you can be accountable and bring into aspects where you look back and go, okay, wait, hold on. This behavior, I'll be honest with you, this is me. This behavior here, this is me. I won't dance around it. I'll just keep it honest. People really will empathize with you. Those who are your friends will always empathize with you. But the rest of the world don't know you. So that's all I would say. You know what I'm saying to you? So yeah, that's my final thoughts on that. And we'll talk anyway.
You will need to see the reunion, because that will,
I need to see it.
That will help contextualize it even further, as much as they can, right? And I agree with you, especially the accountability part. But then that is addressed at the reunion, and specifically, again, it depends what they show, but specifically around me leaving, how it ended, we talk about that on the stage in front of everyone, and then you'll see how it goes, because you again, obviously, I don't even look at what people say in the comments and stuff like this. I'm too busy, bro. Like, and to be honest, people crying in the comments, like it doesn't affect me. But what I would say is that, not even just to me, because I think some of the other people, they're not taking it as well. Some of the negative stuff, they can't take it as well. What I would say is, when you watch it, you got to take it with a pinch of salt. Everybody has to take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I'll say. But the accountability factor, that gets addressed in the reunion, and then me and you will have another talk, hopefully very soon. That's the plan.
All right, I appreciate it. Listen, bro, I appreciate you coming on there, because it's never easy, and sharing your truth and your aspects as well, what you witnessed and what you went through. And so, yeah, I look forward to having more conversations with you. And if we can get you back on here, it'll be very, very powerful. Please put in a good word for Katisha. We want to get her on here as well. We need to ask her questions.
Boy,
her and Demola.
I'll put in the words. I mean, it's
a safe space.
I hope so.
Me too, I'm praying, don't worry.
I hope so. I'll see what I can do.
No, I appreciate you. No, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, man. All right.